Okay, so last week the only thing I finished was this rear end. I don't even have it mounted to the chassis yet. Put new shocks, new arms, and that's it on this rear end. So this week what I'm going to do is first find the parts. Hold on. Okay, so I got parts in. I ordered this, the RPM black front bumper and skid plate, the RPM bulkhead in black, and like I said, because of the mistake of just ordering the black chassis, here's the conversion kit, the low center of gravity conversion kit in blue. So all the parts in there and the instructions. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna mount this up and then go onto the front and get that done. So I think that's it, right? Yep. Just get this start getting this mounted on the black chassis. Like I said, I am using this black chassis instead of blue, but all the rest of the parts I will use. But it'll give me a spare chassis. So all right, so I'm gonna get started. So I went back and pulled the ESC and the receiver box. So on the ESC, some of the hardware that the new kit comes with, you have to use. They said, so you're going from, this is a VXL, yep, the VXL. So you're going from this screw that was on a regular chassis to this screw that comes with the kit, with the LCG chassis. So now, after looking at this chassis, I came to the conclusion that the motor wires most likely aren't going to reach. So I went to my local hobby shop and bought more wire, and I'm going to extend this wire on the motor. That's two reasons why I left the motor, left this cover off the motor, spur gear cover. Because one, I have to set the mesh, and two, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to need to lengthen those wires right there. So next, put this battery, this part of the battery hold down, tie down on here. This came with the new kit. The screws here are from the old chassis, and like I said, this just screws in here, not very easily, and there it is in there. You can see. I'm just kidding, it's kind of a pain to get started. Once it gets started, it goes in, but you just got to kind of keep it straight, because it definitely is a little bit difficult to get it in the beginning. So both of those pieces are mounted. Next, we're going to go with the Nerf, the side Nerf bars. Use the factory hardware off the other chassis on these. The only difference with these is on the old chassis, the screws came from the bottom. On this one, they go in from the top. The old screws from the old chassis. Like I said, the only difference is, well, the bars are different, but the screws go in from the top now instead of the bottom. As you can see, they're both on. So I'm going to go on and mount the receiver box. The receiver box is going to go in this area. One thing I did forget to run this wire across the truck. There's a little notch out in there for it, and I had to take the ESC out. I just had to tuck it through there, so it wasn't that difficult, but I did forget to do that. But yeah, the factory hardware is going to work for this receiver box. Make sure I'm putting it on right. Yeah, I want to go that way with it. So let's mount this up. So I can get this lined up. It kind of drops in. There's like a little recess in the bottom of the box where the screws come out. Let's see, there we go. I wanted to make sure that wire wasn't pinched underneath of there and take it back out. Get these 2 screws in. Alright, so there it is. New placement for receiver box, new ESC placement, and there we go. Okay, so first major part to go back on, we're going to mount the transmission and rear suspension. It uses all factory hardware from what it looks like. So the one thing I do like about this is when you get this in here, let me see if I can get it in here, it kind of locks in. There's 2, I don't know if you can see them, there's a little black bump on the chassis. See those 2 black bumps? Is that too dark? There we go. See those 2 black little bumps right there? They kind of hold the transmission in there. So let's get that in there. Let's see. Again, the factory hardware. So, and it's not lined up, I don't think. Let me see if I can get that lined up a little bit better. There it goes. I do like that it holds, chassis kind of holds their transmission in there. So it's a lot easier to work on like that. So you're going to use the 2, right, 3x12s? Yep, 3x12s. They're button head screws that came off the original. Okay, so those 2 screws are in. Then from underneath, you're going to use 4 of these 4x12s. Countersunk screws for the bottom of the transmission, and 2 of these, let me see what they are, 3x12s countersunk again for the bottom of the transmission. So I started them in. So the 2 smaller ones obviously go in the smaller holes, and the 4 bigger ones will go into 4 bigger holes to hold the transmission on there. So get these screwed in. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can. So there it is, all mounted up from the bottom. Now the reason why, oh, wrong way. I don't have a rear bumper on here now, again, the motor, but I am going to do the rear bumper from RPM in black, and I'm also most likely going to do this dual spare tire carrier from RPM. So that's why I don't have a rear bumper on here right now. I wasn't going to do the rewire of the motor today, but I think that's the next thing to do. So let me get this all cleared up and set up so I can solder this on here. Okay, I have the motor out, as you can see here. This is the wire I bought, some Dean's wet noodle wire, and I have some Dean's Ultra Plugs male. I put Dean's on my motors, nice thick wire. So what I'm gonna do is basically solder a Dean's plug onto this wire, and then basically decide how long the wire needs to be. Now you see a lot of people when they solder, they tell you to tin the wire, and all that means really is just to fill the wire with solder. So you can see here, got the wire stripped back, kind of twisted. Now what I'm going to do is tin this wire, basically fill it with solder. My soldering iron kind of sits, which is good. Let me see if I can get it here. Can you see that? Bend the camera down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is hold this on the heat. Soldering iron's hot. And gradually put solder in there. Let's see. So there you go. See that? That's what tinning a piece of wire means. People tell you to tin the wire. Probably use a little bit more on there. Just put it back on. The solder will actually probably soak through. There we go. Boom. So there you go. Now it's filled with solder. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to do the positive side. Again, add heat, hold the soldering iron on the tab. When the solder starts to melt, basically going to transfer to the tab. Now it's on the tab. Alright, so Now to attach this wire. The wire's tinned. Press the wire to the same tab. Start heating the tab. As the tab gets hot, the wire will get hot, attaching them to each other. Just like that. Again, we're going to go back, strip the wire, just tin the wire again. Get the heat on there. Keep the wire from moving, which is difficult when you only got two hands. Once it starts to flow through the wire, you're good. Both of them are tinned. Now, okay. Make sure you're setting it, remember, make sure you're setting this back in. The wire's back on there, right? Positive, positive, negative, negative. Oh. Some heat in here. Oh, my big hand's in the way. Come from this side, there we go. Once it starts to melt, it's going to melt the other solder in the wire, and they should attach. Let it cool a little bit, and it's attached. Okay, so the one terminal gave me a little bit of trouble, so I had to do it off camera, but I got it fixed. I got it taken care of. I just added a little bit more solder to it. So here we are, motor's back in, wheels back on, spurt cover back on. Moment of truth, see if this worked. It's a little crossed. There we go. And perfect. So there it is. Still a little bit of room. Stick that back through there. But she's perfect. So that's it for this week. Next video is going to be all in the front. So we get the front done, and then all the cosmetic stuff's going to go on. Thanks for following along. Hope you subscribe, and thanks for watching. See you next time.